Well, welcome to the 700 Club. Trump's first budget proposal tells us a great deal about his priorities as president. It includes more money for defense and cuts in government agencies here at home.
Congress is likely to rework the budget plan, but the president is making it clear he wants to change how Washington spends your money. White House correspondent Jennifer Wishon brings us the story.
President Donald Trump's budget is the collection of his campaign promises translated into dollars and cents.
He comes out with a budget that does exactly that. And Washington goes apoplectic because they've very rarely seen a politician who comes to Washington and does exactly what he says he's going to do.
The $1.1 trillion spending plan includes big league winners, like the U.S. military, which gets a 10% boost, the Nuclear Security Administration, the Department of Homeland Security, and Veterans Affairs. There's $1.5 billion in the plan to start building a wall along America's southern border. Another campaign promise the White House Deputy Press Secretary tells CBN News that Trump intends to fulfill.
The president's made extremely clear from day one his priority is an America First budget, and we've got to put national security at the top and forefront of that.
The budget blueprint also includes some big league losers. That list is longer. The Environmental Protection Agency and State Department bear the bulk of the president's cuts, followed by agriculture, health and human services, commerce, education, housing and urban development, and the list goes on. Nearly 30% in cuts to the State Department includes a slashing of foreign aid, money the U.S. uses to help other countries economically. It's one of the cuts some top Republicans and faith leaders can't stomach. In a letter to congressional leaders, more than 100 evangelical and other faith leaders write, "As people of faith, we cannot turn our back on those in desperate need. With just 1% of our nation's budget, the international affairs budget has helped alleviate the suffering of millions."
Foreign aid is probably the single most wasteful spending item in the federal budget. We've spent tens of billions of dollars over the last 30 or 40 years, for example, on development aid to Africa. We all want to help people that are poor or hungry in Africa, but there's no evidence that any of those programs have worked.
President Trump's budget also completely cuts funding for the National Endowment for the Arts, along with the public broadcasting system and National Public Radio, something many Republicans have been pushing for years.
I put myself in the shoes of that steel worker in Ohio. The coal mining family in West Virginia, the mother of two in Detroit, and I'm saying, okay, I have to go ask these folks for money, and I have to tell them where I'm going to spend it. Can I really go to those folks, look them in the eye, and say, look, I want to take money from you, and I want to give it to the Corporation for Public Broadcasting? That is a really hard sell. In fact, something we don't think we can defend anymore.
Mulvaney calls it a hard power budget designed to send a message to America's allies and enemies. All of these budget decisions come from the discretionary part of government spending. The administration will likely talk more about the real budget busters, Social Security and Medicare, in the future. Jennifer Wishon, CBN News, the White House.
Well, you can hear the howls up and down the Potomac River, and the lobbyists are going to come out in force. Each one of these federal programs has a whole lobbying arm behind it. And what is absolutely refreshing to hear is an administration that says, can you prove that your program is having any result? And can you prove to the American taxpayer that it's worth funding again? These arguments that it's less than 1% or 0.5% or whatever percent of the total federal spend, I think need to go, because once you start adding up 1%, pretty soon you get to a very, very big number. And it's time that we get a result-based federal budget that looks very carefully at our spending and are we really getting any bang for the buck. All that said, I actually view this as a negotiation. It's like Trump trying to buy a real estate deal where he comes in with an offer and he stakes out such a position that the other side is in retreat from the get-go. So this may be all a negotiating ploy, but we'll see. We've got to get a handle on our federal deficit. When you consider it's $20 trillion and just how big that number is, and not just our children are going to be paying it back, but our children's children, and then in turn their children, is going to take that long, and we are still running a deficit. we're not even close to saying we're paying for our own way here and we're paying down this deficit. Future generations will literally curse us for the decisions that we've made and how we've run this bill up, and it's time to start paying it back. Well, in other news, the Republican health care bill has survived a major test in Congress. John Jessup has that story from our CBN News Bureau in Washington. John?
That's right, Gordon. The House Budget Committee narrowly voted to advance the Republican leadership's health care bill. Now, it still faces a tough test in the full House, but as Charlene Aaron reports, President Trump says he wants to work with Congress to get a plan passed.
The committee voted Thursday 19-17 to advance the GOP health care bill, with Democrats unanimously voting no. President Trump promised to repeal and replace Obamacare on the campaign trail, and he praised the Republican alternative earlier this week.
It provides tax credits to people to purchase the care that is rightfully theirs.
House Speaker Paul Ryan says the House leadership bill offers better opportunities for health care.
For families, this means lower costs. It means more choices. It means a more vibrant marketplace where insurance companies compete against each other for your business, not some monopoly.
But some conservative Republicans have issues with the plan, saying it doesn't go far enough in undoing Obamacare. The president is reportedly willing to tweak the bill to help reassure those conservatives. And Ryan says the president is helping to bridge the gaps among various GOP factions.
So we're working hand in glove, listening to the concerns of our members. The president of the United States is the one who's bringing people together, sitting around a table, hashing out our differences so that we can get to a consensus document.
And President Trump says, quote, "We're going to arbitrate. We're going to all get together. We're going to get something done." A senior White House official says the president is very committed and frequently reminds Republican lawmakers of their campaign promise to the American people to repeal and replace Obamacare. Charlene Aaron, CBN News.
Thanks, Charlene. Secretary of State Rex Tillerson is warning that military action against North Korea is an option if necessary. Tillerson is in Asia and discussing the escalating threat over Pyongyang's nuclear weapons program. He says a military strike is possible if the program becomes a serious enough threat. At a news conference in Japan, he also made clear that the U.S. does not want a conflict with North Korea.
North Korea and its people need not fear the United States or their neighbors in the region who seek only to live in peace with North Korea. With this in mind, the United States calls on North Korea to abandon its nuclear and ballistic missile programs and refrain from any further provocations.
Tillerson says 20 years of diplomatic and other efforts have not persuaded North Korea to abandon its nuclear efforts. Well, in the last 25 years, people have moved from desktop to laptop computers to smartphones, and the next step could be computer implants. Technology futurist Ray Kurzweil, who has a track record of accurate predictions, says those implants could be here by the year 2029. By then, Kurzweil believes computers will have human-level intelligence, and people would be able to get implants that can link their brains to the internet. He made those remarks at the South by Southwest conference in Austin, Texas, according to Futurism.com. Kurzweil says with the brain implants, people will be smarter, funnier, and, in his words, sexier, and that the implants will improve human lives. Gordon, I bet you have a different take on this.
Yeah, I'm not sure it's going to make you any sexier. That's going to be a little hard for a brain implant. I actually think he's being conservative in this. We're already seeing how much smartphones have changed how we think and how we interact, and the number of times we go to some kind of search engine in order to find the answer to a question. The appeal of being able to do that automatically and have yourself connected up to the internet for this great treasure trove of information, not just at your fingertips, but literally at the speed of thought. That kind of allure, if you will, is probably going to accelerate this. Is this a good idea? Absolutely not. And I, for one, would never go that route, never get that kind of implant. I don't want anything hardwired into my brain. And I doubt you do, too.
Can hardly wait. It's just crazy. I mean, you can understand the why of it's coming, but I'm with you on that. Not going there.